So you guys have got lucky or unlucky. You're not getting the stream, you're getting me. Okay, so this should have been streamed in from Daniele next door. It's really your first opportunity to ask any questions or about any concerns that you might have, and for me to give you an overview of what we're looking at doing with regards to the COVID-19 issue and the various different issues surrounding that, but also the teaching block as well, how teaching is actually going to run and what you can expect from the next couple of weeks. So some of this you will have heard before, but it's necessary and it's important that we go over this with you so that you've got the all of the information there ready for you. Okay, so this is probably the most in-depth overview of the COVID-19 regulations that you'll have had to date. This will be put up on the hub, so on Canvas. You should all be members of the hub for level 6. Okay, so all of this information and the other bits and pieces of induction information about Canvas and stuff will be on there as well. So the health and safety COVID induction for students. Have any of you watched that yet? Does anybody even know where that is? Okay, so that's going to be on the hub as well. So it's important that you read that or you listen to that, I should say, and that'll give you an overview of what we're looking at and how we're going to manage this COVID issue moving forward. The updated student charter. So you will assign the student charter when you first came. There is an updated one, okay, which has links and elements in it surrounding COVID and your responsibilities as students. So it's important that you read that and make sure you understand it. Maintain social distances of 2 meters and don't gather in groups in the corridors or in buildings. That's really important. Okay. A lot of the corridors, especially in this building, aren't ventilated as well as the others. So you know, that can be an issue when it's coming to making sure we've got safety. Wearing face coverings on campus. It's really important. A lot of you will notice that I've taken mine off, and that's because people can't hear me when I'm speaking. So we're able to do that as lecturers. So if you see a lecturer that hasn't got a mask on, then that is the reason behind that. I don't know if any of you have seen the video on YouTube that the registrar put out a couple of days ago. Be worthwhile you having a look at that as well. It's under the Swansea Uni YouTube channel. But basically, he's giving quite a good overview of what's expected. There are some people that are unable to wear masks, so if you are in that situation, then you can inform My Uni Support. You can also get a card from Hidden Disabilities, which will allow you to show people a card. But what you need to do primarily is to inform your lecturer straight away that you're unable to wear a mask. I know it doesn't. Oh, you've got one person there, but it doesn't apply to a lot of people. Your lecturer is going to inform you of any spaces or activities that are not suitable for wearing face coverings. Okay, so it's unlikely that that'll be an issue for you guys. This is more for people that are involved in lab work, etc. My Uni Support, if you are classed as vulnerable, clinically vulnerable, or at increased risk from COVID, then we need that information, okay, because if there are any other or any other support that you actually need, then that is something that we can actually provide. Who knows what the Safe Zone app is? Anybody know what that is? Okay, it's been around for a couple of years, but it's primarily for us to know when you're on campus. So it actually signs you in when you're on campus, and there's some other bits and pieces on there as well, which allows you to call for first aid or for assistance if you actually need it. It's a free app on Android and on iPhone, so well worthwhile you having a look at that. Okay, so physical measures that are being put in place. This is to comply with maximum capacities identified for learning and teaching spaces. Yeah. So you'll notice there's only 8 of you in here. Normally there would be up to 30. Okay, so you are going to notice it acting or being a little bit strange from that perspective. Even some of the larger lecture theatres have only capacity for 30 people now. Okay, so it will be slightly different. The one-way system's in place. I'm sure you've all seen the arrows on the floor. You know, the various different staircases that are one-way only as well. So please make sure that you you keep to those one-way systems, and make sure you look at the signage as well. Okay. Ventilation systems. This building is fairly new, so the ventilation system is really good. They've been reviewed. They're in line with industry guidance, so they are being used to make sure that there is air coming through, and also windows and fire doors. If we can, not fire doors, I should say, but windows and doors will be kept open so that we get this this through flow of air. So with that in mind, some places are going to feel colder than usual, and you're quite welcome to wear appropriate clothing, coats, gloves, whatever, if it gets really, really cold. Okay. Is that okay? Any questions so far? No? Okay. So some bits with regards to social distancing. Make sure you arrive on time. Try not to get here too early as well, because what we're trying to do is make sure we're limiting the number of people within the corridor spaces, as I said. Make sure the social distancing is in place. Swipe in using your card as you normally would. Has everybody swiped in today? Yeah? Great. When you enter in the room, try and fill it from the back to the front. Now, in this room it's a little bit different because the door is at the back, but in most lecture theatres the door's at the front. What we're trying to do is to make sure there is limited risk of crossing. So if you can imagine a lecture theatre with the doors at the front and people start sitting at the front, others coming in are going to have to walk past them to get to their seats. Okay, so we're trying to limit that, and the same goes for when you're leaving the room. Okay, from the nearest to the door first when you're leaving. Sit only in designated spaces and don't move the furniture. Any ideas why that might be? Why shouldn't we be moving furniture? There's a social distancing, okay, but also, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute, when you're cleansing your areas, we don't know, and if chairs are being moved around and desks are being moved around, we don't know where what has actually been cleaned and what hasn't been cleaned. It's also important that even if you're in the same household as somebody else, you don't sit at the same desk, and that's due to capacity issues mainly within the room. You're not permitted to swap seats once you are seated, and that again is due to cross-contamination. So you might have the virus on your clothes or something else. Okay, and if you sit somewhere and then move somewhere else, then that area that's around you has been effectively contaminated. Avoid moving around in the space. And what you'll find is that most lecturers, like last year, we'd have said to you, if you need to go to the loo, then don't worry about it, just get up and go. We'll be scheduling rest breaks throughout the sessions, so that you basically have that time available to you. And again, that's to minimise the amount of movement. So it has been thought about quite thoroughly, as you can see. Okay, cleaning and sanitising. So this room hasn't been used this morning, so you won't have been asked to sanitise. But in other rooms, and when you've gone into them, perhaps later on in the day, you'll be asked to wipe the furniture and the equipment in your immediate space before use. So that might be keyboard and mouse if you're in a PC lab, your chair, your desk space, and whatever. Okay, and you'll find one of these actually glued to the desk in all of the rooms. Okay, so if you just take one of those and wipe it down, then place it in one of the bins outside. Sanitize your hands regularly after wiping the furniture and the equipment, and when entering and leaving the room. There's also sanitisation stations at places where there are high touch points, so you'll see them outside of the lifts and all of those areas as well. Who's got a bottle? Has anybody got a bottle here that of sanitising liquid, the Swansea one? Okay, they are going to be handed out, I believe, but those are available. You can actually refill them, so there's refill-in stations all around the place as well, and they're basically one of those big 5-litre containers with a pump on top of it. This goes without saying, and you're not 10 years old in primary school, I know that, but you're expected to bring your own stationery and equipment to lectures and not to share your equipment. Okay, so compliance with university requirements. Follow the instructions of your lecturer at all times. Okay. Local arrangements may be in place for specific teaching activity. Again, that's more to do with workshops and the workshops in engineering and the labs and all that sort of stuff. But for the final year project, you guys are going to be, going and meeting potentially your project providers. So you need to make sure that those local arrangements are in place for that teaching activity as well. Non-compliance, you could be asked to leave the lecture. Okay. For repeated cases, you could be reported to academic services. Okay, and believe it or not, they can actually kick you out for non-compliance with COVID stuff. So, you're in your final year. We don't want to get anywhere near that. All right. So, what happens if you've got COVID-19 symptoms? Throw some symptoms at me. Losing your sense of smell, yeah. Say again? Can't taste anything. Can't breathe with a mask on either. Anything else? Temperature? Dry cough, yeah, okay, we know them all now. We've heard nothing else for the past 6 months, have we? It can come on quite quickly. That's one thing that isn't mentioned a lot on the news. So if all of a sudden you feel ill, tell your lecturer immediately, okay? Just leave the lecture and make sure that you go straight home and inform my uni support, okay? I'll give you all the details and all of this information will be up on the hub later. Maintain that 2 metre social distance from others, make sure you keep your face covering on, avoid touching anything, avoid public transport. It's all common sense stuff, okay? If you have a confirmed case of COVID-19, this is really important, you must report it to my uni support on that email address as soon as possible. Okay, and that's for our test, track and trace procedures. So, we're coming into the winter months. What happened last year? What was everyone getting last year? Mumps, okay. It was fresh as flu the year before. I mean, I've been here for about 7 years now, and I think there's been, a rush of everything from, from October and into November. So you are going to get some coughs, sniffles, and whatever that are not COVID related. You must comply with Welsh Government guidance on this, okay? And if necessary, get a test. So that really involves calling up NHS Direct, tell them what your symptoms are, and listening to what their advice is. Where there is a test that is negative but symptoms persist, students must again inform my uni support and the lecturer, because we get all nervous if there's somebody coughing and hacking at the back. All right. So if you are coughing but you've had a negative test, then let us know. Similarly, where you have a condition such as asthma that can cause symptoms that are likely to be mistaken for COVID, again, inform the lecturer, because again, if someone's coughing and hacking at the back, then we don't want to be in a position where we have to ask somebody to leave and embarrass somebody unnecessarily. Although saying that, if a student is persistently coughing during a lecture, I've got the right, or we've all got the right, to ask if the cough is new, continuous, whether or not you've got a temperature or whatever, and can ask you to leave the teaching space. Okay, so dealing with emergencies, fire and that sort of issue, and we had a fire here a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if anybody saw that on the news, but there was quite a bad fire here. The one-way systems, etc., social distancing, do not have to be adhered to in an emergency situation. Okay. However, once you're outside and a safe distance away, then you should maintain social distancing. So it says gather, but not congregate. I don't know what the difference is between a gathering and a congregation, but that'll be at a muster point. So personal emergency evacuation plans have been completed, and risk assessments have been put in place as well. Okay, all around this. If you require first aid, please contact a university member of staff. But if you've got that app, that Safe Zone app, then there's a big button on there that says I need first aid, and you can click that and people will come to you. All right. Additional information, the health and safety recovery induction video can be found there. The additional health and safety information on my uni intranet page, and the student charter on my intranet page as well. Okay, so before we go on to the structure of the year and the differences and what you can expect, are there any questions about COVID-19 and the health and safety elements? Yeah, go on. Yeah, I thought that the hub, My Uni Hub, were giving them out. So it's worthwhile going to just going across the road perhaps and asking them over there. They're little bottles out. They actually smell of whiskey, believe it or not, because the ethanol, because we make it here, the university makes it. The ethanol comes from the Penderyn Distillery, the Welsh whiskey place. So it actually smells of whiskey. Don't know why I'm talking about whiskey at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, but there you go. So yeah, but even if you've got your own bottle, if the top comes off it, you can unscrew the top. You can fill it up with the university stuff free of charge in any case. All right. Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to the structure. So, important year for you guys, and I'm sure you are more than a little bit nervous about what's going to be happening and the impact that it's going to have on your studies and on the degree that you graduate with. We've put an awful lot of thought into this over the summer, and the key thing that we want to try and make sure is it's a bit of a balancing act. We've got safety on one side, and we've got quality learning experience on the other. And we think what we've done is we've come up with a delivery model that is safe, but actually meets the high standards that we have as a university. Okay. In that way, we want it to be as normal as possible for you, all right, and to give you all of the other experiences that learning experiences that you'd expect as final years. So, as it says there, designed to give access to high quality learning in an environment which is safe. It also gives us the opportunity to enable students who can't attend for one reason or another, be that they aren't in the country, because we've got quite a few international students that have elected not to come here for the first teaching block. We've got people that are vulnerable and are isolating. Give them the opportunity to participate and not be disadvantaged from people who can attend. It's flexible enough to allow teaching to move between an on-campus and online should lockdown measures be reintroduced. So, at the moment, it's looking likely that lockdown measures in some form, shape or form are going to be reintroduced or strengthened. The delivery model that we've designed means that can quickly and easily be moved to a fully online. Likewise, if the level decreases, the level of infection decreases, we can then move it to more of a traditional model. we've got to take into account working within the constraints of social distancing and also the reduction in transport capacity. Who came here on a bus today? What was it like?
There were like 5 people there.
Yeah?
The whole bus.
Yeah. There's quite a few people that aren't coming onto campus for that very reason. But transport capacity is an issue, okay, for us. It was an issue when it was normal, but certainly with social distancing and seats being taken out of action now, then it's even worse. So there's going to be. I'm going to go through what the difference between everything is now. But lectures and seminars are going to be online. Lectures are going to be self-directed and seminars live. I'll go into what that means in a minute. Program and module workshops will be on campus, and there is a difference between what is a program workshop and what is a module workshop. So in essence, that's what it looks like. Okay. At the top there in the blue, we've got lectures. So they're what we call asynchronous delivery. So what that means is that the lecture will be recorded beforehand, will be put up onto Canvas, and will be either weekly or fortnightly. Okay. Most lectures are done on a weekly basis, but final year project, for example, it's a module I coordinate, they're done on a fortnightly basis. Okay. How many people have had a Canvas notification that the lecture is up? Has anybody had that? Have you had a notification? Just so I know it's working. Because about 15-20 minutes ago, I put the first lecture up on for the final year project. You got it, have you? Yeah. Lecture recorded, yeah. So, and there should be some other announcements from me as well. There'll be a couple of those. Great. So that's working. Fantastic. So the first lecture for the final year project is already up there. It's 30 minutes. Introduction, what you can expect, and so on. Okay. And the good thing about it is you've got the ability for a discussion underneath. I'll go into a little bit more detail about Canvas in a minute. So those are the lectures. Interesting point is that they are not timetabled, and they're not timetabled because it's up to you when you download and listen to them. Okay, that's why some of you may have looked at your timetable and thought this looks very, very light, and that's the reason behind it, because the lectures aren't timetabled. Seminars are going to be live and online. For most of the modules. So they'll be done via Zoom. For the final year project, the seminar times are going to be when you meet with your academic supervisor. So your academic supervisor, once they are allocated to you, will provide you with a 15-minute slot every week or every fortnight for you to come along with your group on a Zoom link initially. Okay. But other seminars for other modules will be more of you in a room and a virtual room, I should say, and doing the traditional seminar type of work. With Zoom, the Zoom license that we've got also allows breakout rooms as well, so it gives you the opportunity to get into small groups and work through a problem. Then we've got these two new things, module workshops and program workshops. And these are the face-to-face elements. So there is a difference between the two. This is a program workshop, and there are 3 of those, this week, next week, and week 11, so that's teaching week 10. And for level 6, what we're going to be doing is we're going through the introduction, the induction part for the first one. We're going to be looking at assessments for the second one next week, different types of assessments, group work, challenges that you're going to face, how you can overcome them, etc. And then the final one, we're going to get the employability team to work with you on job searches, assessment centres, networking, LinkedIn, all that sort of stuff. Okay, so those are what the program workshops are going to be, and we've only planned those so far for this first semester. Your module workshops, each module, so each of the 4 modules that you're taking this semester, will have 2 module workshops that will be on campus as well. And what they will be focused around is information and skills, I suppose, that are relevant to that particular module. So, for instance, with the final year project, we've got CMI coming in to talk to you about their take on leadership and program management, but also to talk to you about Foundation Chartered Manager status. Because I don't know how many of you were at the Welcome Back talk on Friday, but by passing the final year project and by graduating, you automatically now become Foundation Chartered Managers. So you can put FCMGR after your name as well as the BSc. Okay. So those are what the module workshops are. So just to cover that again, pre-recorded videos, bite-sized videos. They should be no longer than 30 minutes. Okay. They may be followed by exercises and further reading. It's important that you keep up to date with these. Okay. So when institutions have run blended learning like this before, one of the problems has been that people don't bother watching them, and then they try and do a Netflix and binge watch them at the end of the semester. That doesn't work, okay? Because you'll be given stuff to discuss in the various different seminars that are preceding that. And as I said, it's not timetabled. Live seminars via Zoom. They'll be interactive, so you'll be expected to participate. Breakout rooms, polls, and there will be other external tools that will be used as well. Okay. As it says there, ensure that you complete the pre-reading and preparation in advance. So that is talking about the lectures, really. The seminars, by the way, will be on your timetable. Who hasn't used Zoom before? Stupid question, I know. Okay, so you all know how to set it up, but some points to consider. This is the most important one here. Try to make sure you're somewhere quiet, and that's not only for your own ability to concentrate, but if there's a lot of noise in the background when you're working in a group or whatever, then it can be distracting for others. Okay. If you link into the Swansea Uni license for Zoom, by the way, it gives you access to all the extended content. So, for instance, if you've got your own free Zoom account, then you're only allowed on there for 40 minutes before it kicks you off. It doesn't give you access to breakout rooms or polls or anything like that. So make sure that you are signing in using your university credentials. Workshops, and there's a reason that the workshops are at certain points throughout the teaching block, in the middle and at the end. And it's so, as lecturers, what we can do is look at the information that you've currently been given, and look at how you can actually consolidate that moving forward. Okay, so that you've understood everything that you've been provided. Make the most of the opportunity. Try and come in. It is going to be the only times that this teaching block that you are going to be in a face-to-face situation. Make sure you're asking questions, and what it does is we're trying to contextualise everything that you've been provided on the previous weeks, and provide you perhaps with a worked example or some further information that will actually gel everything together for you. 2 per module. And they will be staggered over different weeks. Okay, so you'll find that you should have a module workshop most weeks. Okay, and I'll show you. We've got a little diagram that shows you how that's done. Key elements of these workshops will be recorded for those who can't attend for one reason or another. But again, you need to make sure that you comply with the health and safety induction information. So if you aren't feeling well, don't come in. Okay, just let the lecturer know, send an email or whatever, and let the My Uni support know. So program workshops, 1, 2 and 11, they're timed over 2 hours, but in reality they're going to be a lot shorter, and the reason they're timed over 2 hours is that to make sure we get everybody, like today is for level 6, we've got 4 sessions running, and those 4 sessions are in multiple rooms. So what's happening is one person is streaming into 2, maybe 3 rooms. Okay, that takes a while to set up. So we've set aside probably about 20-25 minutes to get everything set up. About an hour and a half then for the delivery, and then some questions on the back end of that. Okay, so as I said, for you guys, we're going to be looking at assessments next week, and then we're going to be looking at employability the following week, on week 11. So that's typically what it's going to look like for you. Okay, the lectures are just going to be there every week, provided for you. The seminars on a weekly basis or on a fortnightly basis, depending on the module. And then if you look, workshop for module 1 is there, week 3, module 2, week 4, module 3, week 5 and 6 and so on. So they are staggered. So with that in mind, you will be in here face to face most weeks, okay, for a period of at least 2 hours. Feedback and consultation hours. These are going to continue. It's really important for us to maintain these actually. Okay, so on the Canvas page there'll be the usual module handbook, but under consultation hours there'll be Zoom links. And what happens with those is that you click on them. If there's somebody already in there, then you'll be put into a waiting room. And the same is going to happen with the academic mentor sessions as well. Okay, they are going to be 2 hours per lecture per week, but as with all of us, if you need to see us on a one-to-one basis urgently, then we can arrange that as well. Academic mentoring is important this year, more important I would say than other years, because you're going to be a little bit more detached from what it is. You're not going to be in here as much as you were. So making sure that you're progressing, making sure that you are still you feel part of this learning community that we've got, and planning and goal setting. Okay, so employability, what you're going to do after you graduate, it should be one of the key things that you should be looking at. Okay, be that work or going on for further study or whatever. Must have a minimum of 2 individual meetings per academic year. So your personal academic mentor will be in touch with you from I think week 3 onwards to set up a Zoom meeting with you. You'll have that one-to-one meeting. And these individual meetings are primarily going to focus on academic development, especially for you guys in the final year. Okay. Canvas. Okay. What do you think of Canvas so far?
Not fan of the layout.
No? Why not?
I don't know. I was doing a reset and I was trying to look for like lectures. I don't know. It wasn't as simple as Blackboard.
Yeah, one of the main things with which I don't understand why they can't change. Yeah, is a module and a course are completely different to what you're used to. So what we call a module, like the final year project, Canvas call it a course.
Yeah.
So you end up with a list of courses, and a lot of people are thinking, hang on a minute, I'm only on one course. You know, where are my modules? Modules are the various different things, the weeks. So each course will have 10 modules or 10 sort of, you know, weekly sessions. So the terminology has has taken a lot to get used to. I wasn't a fan to start off with because I was just used to Blackboard, but it can do an awful lot more in terms of you know, group work and all that sort of thing. So for instance, I'm setting you guys up, or we'll be setting you guys up with groups for the final year project. That's once you're into your groups area, You've got the ability to make like a wiki, a web page. You've got your own private discussion group. You can share documents that you're working on. So if you're putting together a group report or a plan, then you can all work on the same document like Google Docs. You can set up your own Zoom meetings in there as well. So we're giving you all of the tools that you actually need to be able to manage this project, remotely. So I quite like it. I think it's going to take a bit of getting used to, but it is going to be good. So on the hub, I don't know how many of you actually went last week to. There was a session on what is Canvas and how Canvas works. That has been recorded and is on the hub. So have a look at that. So it's where all your lecture links and seminar links and so on are going to be held. You've already had the link to the first lecture from me from the final year project, so you can see how those links are laid out. All announcements about your program will come via Canvas. Okay, and again we've seen that. Assessment information is all on Canvas as well, but we're continuing to use Turnitin as the back end to our assessments. So once you click through, it's as you would expect it to be as normal with Turnitin. So making the most of the online learning. I think the main bit of information that I would give you, or the main bit of advice I would give you, is to make sure that you set yourself up a routine. Don't just leave everything until the last minute. And taking breaks is as equally as important. Make sure that you manage some times for your breaks as well. Try to watch the pre-recorded lectures before that week's seminar. So for instance, done this lecture now, 2 weeks it's going to be the previous students that are going to be coming in to talk to you. Then there's going to be me doing project management skills. Okay, so the seminars or the workshop after that is going to be around those project management skills that CMI are going to do. Okay, so it's important that you get things in order. Make notes while you can. Okay, while you're watching these lectures. In particular, note down any questions that you might have. And again, that's important for you on a one-to-one basis at a consultation hour or as part of a seminar as well. The online forum on Canvas, you can ask questions on there. I'd encourage you to ask questions on there as well. I believe you can actually leave them anonymously as well. I think there's a little button on there that allows you to do that. So, don't be worried about there are no stupid questions. Most people, if you're thinking of a question, then I can guarantee that probably 60-70% of the rest of the cohort are as well. If you need any help or advice, Som Experience is your first port of call, as well as your academic mentor, your module coordinator. If there's any major problems, then the coordinator will get me involved as the program director. Centre for Academic Success is still running, and they are doing one-to-one sessions via Zoom as well. So if there's any issues around maths help and support, referencing or anything like that, then they can help you. Try and enjoy it as much as you can. Okay, it's going to be a bit different, from a normal university year. We are working to give you this high quality university experience. Please don't ever think that we're trying to shirk out of teaching you guys. That we've missed it. The last 6 months hasn't been right. Okay, so we want to try and get in front of you as lecturers as much as we can, and just make sure that you look out for each other. Okay, I think that's the most important thing. Okay. Questions? Any questions on anything? Even if it's final year project, quite happy to answer those as well. Yeah.
So just to double check, do you have seminars this week?
For final year project. I've sent a message about final year project. You won't get seminars until you are given your academic supervisor. So that's probably going to be week 3 when those are going to start. some of the modules, yes, you will have seminars starting this week. Check with the module coordinator though. That's what I'd suggest you do. Anything else?
So the lecture you uploaded, that's got like content on the final year project. Right?
It's an introduction.
Yeah.
So it'll tell you exactly how the final year project is going to run, how Canvas is going to work with it. The main thing is with what you need to do is to, if you're not in a group, then we are going to randomly allocate people into groups. If you are in a group or you want to be in a group, then you need to email me before the end of this week so that I can put you into that group. So and they must be a group of 6, okay? So if there's 4 of you that want to work together, that's fine, but I'll be randomly allocating you another 2 people on the back end of that. So there's quite a few people that have already come to me and asked me to set up groups. Toby's one of them actually, so that's all sorted, okay? Anything else? Great. Well, you know you can find me if you need me. The Solon Experience team are the first point of contact. You can still contact them at any time as well, but anything academic, just give me a shout. All right. And once again, sorry that you didn't get the stream coming in here, but you had to put up with me instead. Okay, thanks guys. I'll see you soon. Be careful.